Okay, so today we are working with our sweet potato slips. I will leave some links at the end of the video so you guys can go check out how we got our slips. We started the slips pretty early, so I'll go ahead and show you guys what the sweet potato are looking like, what they're looking like right now. Now I will say a bunch of them has been dying off because we've been waiting too long to put them in the ground, but we just didn't want to lose them. So as you can tell, we still have the potatoes in there. We're going to show you guys how we get these slips off these potatoes, how we plant them in the ground, and we're also going to show you how we're going to repurpose that same potato that we got the slips from to get even more sweet potatoes from it in the spring. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll take you out to the Omega Garden and show you how we do every bit of it. Okay, so here we are down at the Omega Garden in the pasture. And the last time you guys was here following us along, we was planting our Yukon Gold potatoes, which is the rows here just behind me. So now we're going to show you guys how we do our sweet potato slips. We're going to go ahead and be breaking them off the potato down here, and also repurposing that sweet potato once we get them off. Toss you guys up on a tripod, and we'll show you how we do it. Okay, so before we get started, I thought I'd show you what we're working with here. This is what our sweet potatoes look like. Some of them's a little crispy, as I said. None of them's really completely died off, but they're just getting crispy. You can tell they're not going to make it if we just keep leaving them in there too long. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have maybe another couple of nights of cold weather, but we're going to go ahead and put them out and try to get them established. So I thought I'd show you what each potato looks like, or what one of them would look like. Here's all the roots, and then up here's the top of the potato. So what we would do in an instant like that, all those little roots is actually more sweet potato slips. So there is a ton of slips on here because all of those little micro slips there and all the big ones that's got established. So as long as we have nubs, and we do on these slips at the end of the potato, doesn't mean they have to be fully fledged rooted like the ones on the bottom. And the reason why they're not is because this part of the potato wasn't submerged in water. These are what we would take off and put in water to get the roots. We're going to try to hurry up and get them established, just in case more cold weather comes in. Now, if we do have more cold weather and we do get some greens that fade off or die back, they'll be okay if the bottom of the potato is established, and that's what we're going to try to do today. Okay, so in our last sweet potato video where I showed you guys how to get the slips, I was talking about how you could get around 50 slips or more on each sweet potato. This is just a good example of what I'm talking about. Like, each and every one of these little things here is an individual sweet potato slip. Now the roots is all entangled, but as you spin around and keep pulling some of this stuff back, you can see tons and tons of sweet potato slips all down in there forming. You can also see those bright orange spots where we've already took off the sweet potato slips here that we can get more roots from, or we can plant those directly into the ground. Okay, so first I want to apologize for the shadows. So I'm going to show you what we do when we have these really long slips that's been overdue planting. We've already took a bunch of them off. We have like 2 or 3 more left. Just find the slips that you don't want to pop off yet. Find the one that you're trying to get off. Go all the way down to where you feel where it touches the potato, and then just break it off. Now, you'll have to kind of shake the potato as you separate them to keep the roots from breaking each other. If you do break off some, it's all right. They will regenerate as long as you get enough on there. So now, for the most part, people would think, well, you dig a hole and you just bury this rooted part right here, but there's a little more to it than that. When you have the slips that's really long like this, you can get what I call a triple planting out of it. So we'll go ahead and show you how we do that now. As far as this potato goes, what we're going to do next is we're probably going to leave one slip on it, and we're going to take this little tuber here and just go ahead and bury it and get some extra potatoes out of it, because it's not finished giving us sweet potatoes. So we're going to bury that next, but right now we're going to show you how you get 3 plantings out of that one slip. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to lay the slip out on the ground where we're going to plant it at, in line with the row. Obviously we're going to dig a hole here and we're going to bury the rooted part. We'll go ahead and do that now, and then we'll show you what we do with the rest of that slip. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to dig like a trench in our wood chips. We're only going to pull back our wood chips, and we're going to do it the entire length of the slip. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull back some of this compost, dirt, and we'll loosen it up for our roots, because this is where the base of the plant's going to go. Okay, so we're going to take our root base and we're going to put it down in that hole, cover it right back up, and make sure there's no air pocket that forms in between your root. But you do want it laid at an angle like this. You don't want to have it standing straight up. You want to kind of lay it at an angle. So now that our root base is in the ground, we're going to make sure, now if there was a leaf here, what we would do was we would raise it up in a hump like that and bury the shaft right here and put dirt over top of that, so that green will be covered up in wood chips. The same instance right here, we do have a green leaf that's kind of broke off, but what we would do was we would bury the sections that don't have any leaves on it at all, and then leave the tip of the green standing up out of the ground and cover everything up with wood chips. So every place that this slip touches the ground will have sweet potatoes. So that's how you get a triple planting out of some of these slips, especially these really long ones. It don't take a lot of dirt, because they are going to get wood chips, and we're going to leave this end right here sticking up out of the ground. Everything else, including those small greener leaves, will be fine covered up with wood chips. That way, in case we have a frost or something, they'll be fine, and they'll push their way through the soil later on. So there you go. That's how you get 3 plantings from 1 slip. Okay, so now we're just going to show you how we plant our regular slips. It's pretty much the same way. You don't want to stand these things straight up like you're planting regular vegetables or flowers. You want to lay them down at an angle, because the more of this exposed purple stem here that don't have leaves on it, the more that touches the ground or gets buried. It's kind of just like a tomato plant. If it touches the ground, it's going to form roots and make more taters. So you always want to remember that, and keep in mind that your tater slips need to be planted at an angle and kind of laid across the ground like a vine. It's pretty much the same. You take your tater, dig you a little trench about the same length, get you a good hole started here for your base, and we're just going to plant that whole root base and lay it at an angle just like that right there. Cover all this back up, and we're going to leave that at an angle, but what we're going to do is make sure we don't form no air pocket, give it some support. Then we're going to cover all this back up with wood chips. That's it. That's all there is to it. Now, once in a while, you're going to run into a slip that has 2 that's grew into 1 stem. That happens when you have sweet potatoes in for a long time. All you got to do is just act like a wishbone here and just separate it right down the middle through that harder stem, and make sure you get equal amounts of roots on each side, and those things will go just as good as any other regular sweet potato slip. So we have a bunch that has roots attached down here at the bottom. Those are what we're going to take off and put in the ground. That's what we're planting today. Some of these ones up here that don't have roots, we're taking them, and we've decided to put them back in a jar, take them in the house, and get those rooted just in case we do have some more really bad cold weather. Then we'll still have some in the house. So I want to make a quick note on that though, because sweet potatoes take about 4 months, 120 days or so to get going. So what you want to do is, if you have to extend some of those for colder weather, you want to make sure that the ones that you do take in the house, whether they're rooted or not, is to get them back outside and put them in the ground before May the 2nd, because you want to make sure you give your potatoes that full 4 months to get established and making more potatoes. But we're going to be okay for now, and we're pretty sure in a few weeks we can get them back out here and we'll be okay. And it may be just an addition, because most of these right here may survive. We might not even have no more bad weather, but it's always good, as you guys know, to be prepared. So that's what we're going to do, just to be safe. So now we're not going to be cutting any of these potatoes in half. We don't believe in that. It just drains the energy of the potato even faster. But we're going to show you how we do plant our whole potatoes. For sweet potatoes, pretty much the same way as the slip. We're just going to dig a trench for the length of potato, and as you can see, Bobby's gauging it out there. We want to make sure that the hole is the entire length of the potato and a couple of inches on each side. So now all she's going to do is she's going to dig that trench, and then she's going to lay that potato down on its side and leave the slip, because we always leave one slip on each potato to make sure that it's got plenty of energy and growth there. That'll help your potato get started faster. And as you can tell, she just laid that slip right down on its side and went ahead and covered that thing up with soil and then wood chips. And that's all there is to it, guys. Everywhere that slip lays down and touches the ground, you'll get more sweet potatoes. So if you guys can see how these sweet potatoes are planted in, like, they're slanted and laying down, that's exactly what you want them to look like. Is make sure they're laying at an angle just like that, and it'll always give you more sweet potatoes. As you can tell, we got lots more work to do. Alright guys, so now here's one way to get 3 plantings from your sweet potato. Now we showed you how to do that with your slips, and it'll work every time if you'll just follow those little simple directions. Now we're going to show you how to do it with your sweet potato. So the first thing we done, here's the potato, and we've had, as you can see, we got slips that, you know, grew all over it, and we got these slips in my hand came off of that potato. I just pulled all these off, and as you can tell, they don't have any roots on them whatsoever, because they was up here. Actually, you can see some of the holes where we pulled them off at, and they was just sitting here on a potato just like these two with no roots. So we took those off, and we're going to put them in some water and root them up for insurance, just in case. So the ones that are already established on the sweet potato at the bottom down here where the roots is at, we're going to take those guys off, separate them out, and we're going to plant them right here in the garden. So we have our slips, that's one, and then we're going to take these here off, separate them out and plant them. That would be your second planting. And then we're going to take the potato, we're going to leave these guys on here that's not been established with roots yet, but still stuck to the sweet potato, and we're going to plant the whole potato and at least leave 1 or 2 of those slips on there to get started. And that would be our third way of planting, because this will turn into a lot more sweet potatoes. As long as we plant it and get these off, then it'll just regenerate more slips on this potato. So that's how you'll get 3 different plantings from your 1 sweet potato. Okay y'all, so here is our slips that we broke off the sweet potato. We're gonna let them hang out in the house for a few weeks, and if all's good outside and nothing happens to the ones that we just planted, we'll probably distribute this into the Guru network, give them away, and let somebody else have some, because it's perfect time for them. Okay everybody, we hope this helps you when you go to do your sweet potato slips this year, if you hadn't done it already. I know for those of us in zone 7-ish, most of the time everybody's putting theirs out about right now. We did start ours way too early, but they are going out at the appropriate time. We just kept them in the house a little too long because we did start them early. So as you can see behind me, we have so much stuff to do. All the stuff set up on the grill. We got all kind of stuff going, so we're going to go ahead and get at it. We'll show you guys in other videos how we do some of this other stuff. We want to thank you for watching the sweet potato video, and I'll go ahead now and throw up links to 2 other sweet potato videos. One of the videos here will show you how we got our sweet potato slips, and the other one will show you how we did our sweet potato slips once we got them from the potato. And thank you guys for watching, and as always, we'll see you again on the next one.